know or have attempted to play a musical instrument? Okay, so you guys know that that is very hard and it takes a lot of practice and time to do. So I chose to learn to play the guitar, and what I wanted to do at the beginning was to learn to play a whole song, but that didn't work out, and I realized after like the first 2 weeks that I wasn't going to have enough time to do it. So I changed to, I told myself that I'd rather have something that I'm proud to present than learn something that was not like as good. So I picked this because it's something that I've always wanted to learn to do, but with sports and school, it hasn't really been like a priority and I haven't had much time. So when we were like able to do this and it was like a part of school, I knew that this was something that I want to do. So like I said before, I wanted to learn the whole song, but that did not work out because it was just too hard and very difficult actually. So I did change it to just the like first section of the song, and it's just like, it was like 3 different chords, so it was pretty easy, but like it still took a lot of practice because it hurt. Like I had to switch my pointer finger from 2 different frets, but the pinky stayed the same, but it was really hard to push them down. So some difficulties were holding the string down with my pinky, because your pinky isn't very strong because it's not a finger that you use a lot. And another thing was, like I said, switching between the frets. And one of the main things was I've never played a musical instrument before I haven't even played anything at all. So this was really a really foreign topic to me, and it's something that was completely new. Even though I wasn't able to learn the whole song, I didn't want to be a total failure, so I decided to stick with it and keep trying to learn the good song, or the first song, and actually be like pretty good at it. And that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Go ahead and skip her, and we'll do whoever's next. We'll go back to her. Do you mind flipping through to next?
What to put it
I didn't realize she was second.
What did you do a video
I have a
on?
question.
We don't have time for questions, sir. Emma,
Oh, she wants to? Oh.
go to the next one.
What's your question?
That's for Friday, right?
I can go there.
Alex, awesome. Real
Did you
quick.
just get your video done?
What?
Did you just get your video done? So like this.
Yeah.
Four out.
$60. No. Why are you doing it early Friday?
I made a bee house for my junior salad. So how many of you guys have ever been stung by a bee? I'm guessing that after you guys have been stung, you probably thought how pointless or dumb bees are. And I guess I thought that too before I began this project. And it wasn't until halfway through when I realized that bees actually have an importance. You guys can ask a question. I picked my project because, one, I thought it'd be a good start to learn a skill of woodworking, which I've always thought was pretty cool and interesting. 2, I thought it'd be useful, especially because my family owns a lot of fruit trees around my house and our woods. And 3, I thought it would be cool to watch bees come and go out of the house. What is a bee house? A bee house is a simpler and easier way for bees to lay their eggs, and a bee house most commonly is made from wood and is hung around plants. But most importantly, bee houses must include bamboo. Bamboo is important because it keeps moisture out and doesn't dry out. Bee houses are good for pollination because they allow bees to live in them and raise their young safely from wasp and habitat destruction. My project. During this project, I learned that you can grow bamboo in Michigan. So my dad found someone in Michigan who grows it and sells it. But when we talked to him, he told me some basic things like how to keep my bamboo good until I would do my project. And he forgot to mention one detail, which I did not realize until I began to cut my bamboo. That bamboo breaks extremely easily, and I definitely broke more bamboo than I did use it. So after several bamboo sticks later, I finally realized a good way to cut it using a small handsaw. So yeah. As you guys can see, I did not have a lot of success with students all, but I kept going and I would redo something until I got it perfect or just the way I wanted it. I had a lot of failures during this all, but I kept going through them all and I would keep doing something. And I also found out that my bee house isn't even safe for bees because the bamboo, I used hot glue to keep it in the box, which my dad informed me later on that hot glue could be bad for the bees. And when I put the bamboo in the box, I left spaces in between each bamboo, which leaves room for wasps to get in and kill the bees. So, yeah. And my conclusion is that it took a lot of patience, especially when cutting the wood, the bamboo, taking measurements, and especially when I found out that my bee house isn't even safe. And it took a lot of perseverance, and I really wanted to give up at times, but I kept going. And I guess that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Great. Ella, go ahead and jump up there and go back to your slides. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it
Uh,
out.
No,
Yeah,
no,
okay. I'm gonna do it at the end, or, cause, well, it depends on what everyone wants, cause there's like multiple.
Right.
Just hit the back. Just hit the back button. Like the arrow keys. Just go back.
Oh, that page.
I was totally depressed last week. So I bought those posts where you're making cookies.
Okay.
All right.
Made those
You're going
and
to?
watched it
Yeah.
14
Okay.
Christmas movies.
So, have any of you guys ever learned to try to play the ukulele before? Yeah. Okay, so it relatively looks pretty easy, but I had so many difficulties just trying to learn how to play it. And yeah, it was really hard for me just trying to learn all the chords and just keep on like thinking it through and like remembering everything. And I had a lot of difficulty doing it. So I actually ended up failing with the ukulele. I only ended up learning a couple of chords, and it was a disaster because I would work on it week after week, and I just, like, my fingers wouldn't fit in the right places, and it just was not working out at all. So did not work, which brings me to my conclusion why I switched from the ukulele to, I don't know, kind of like baking, like cooking, I guess, which I'm not very good at. And I switched because I spent so much time on the ukulele, and I wanted to just like do something that would be like a good result and like that I would grow and learn a lot and could have success in. So I picked this because it was actually really difficult, and I knew it would take a lot of time, but I was ready for that, and I knew that it would take a while to like perfect everything, but I was okay with that. So my project first started out with I made truffles and cupcakes. I had many different trials of truffles because, well, I'll talk about that on the next slide. So here's my final product of the food. The cupcakes actually sprinkled with candy canes though, so that's it. The cupcakes I made multiple trials of because the frosting was just a disaster, just learning how to frost and getting the right design that I wanted, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to do it. And the truffles took me 3 trials because the first batch I burned the chocolate, and I actually brought in some burnt truffles if you guys wanted to try them, like the difference between the burnt truffles and the actual truffles, because there's a very big difference in taste. So my difficulties were definitely frosting because I just was not good at frosting at all, and just like my hand was so shaky and like I would make so many mistakes and stuff, and it was also really messy, and just following along with recipes and videos was just kind of confusing for me. So overcoming challenges, this was my first cupcake that I frosted versus my last one, and as you can see there's a pretty big difference. Also in cooking, I had to make up a couple of steps because, like the chocolate recipe, obviously the truffles did not work the first recipe. That's my burnt chocolate, and then that's my good one. So I had to make up a couple new things and just kind of like think of what I wanted to do and like how to make it better and stuff. So next time if I were to do this, I would definitely practice each step more carefully and just make sure that I'm following exactly along. And I would do decorating before on like a placemat or something because I don't want to ruin my cupcakes by doing it because I started out with 21 cupcakes and ended up with 11 because I messed up on so many. So in my conclusion, I would recommend it because I had a lot of fun and it did come with a lot of challenges and took a long time to perfect. But it was overall really fun and you get to learn how to make something new, which is cool. So, yep, that's it. Thank you. Ella, go to the next one. Ella, go to the next slide. Next slide. This is, no, it's the next one. I don't know why that's there. Is that yours?
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
why there's a
So, who wants a cupcake?
I want to try it.
Ollie, can you help me pass it?
Yes,
out?
sir.
You take the truffle.
You're
saying you.
On the desk probably?
Okay.
Who wants truffles?
Does anyone want to try the bad truffles?
Oh, I do.
I will.
They're really gross and more.
I'll try one.
Actually, no.
Okay. It's burnt chocolate, so.
I will. I'll eat one.
Okay. Autumn, you wanted a cupcake? I want a cupcake. Autumn, I want, or Ella, I want a cupcake.
Ella, I want a cupcake.
Ella, I want a cupcake. I already told you.
I'll make you just
Yes, Ella, we'll make you. Okay, if you want a cupcake.
Are those the good ones?
Is that a good one?
Yes.
What are the ghost truffles?
Are these the?
Yeah, where are the nasty?
Oh, I don't want to eat over.
Oh, the gross truffles are right here. If anyone wants a gross truffle.
Oh yeah, I don't know what a truffle is.
What?
You want a truffle?
Nanny, give me one. You know, like charred truffles. That sounds so much better.
Charred chocolate.
Oh, they're peppermint cupcakes, just in case someone's peppermint. I just wanted to know.
Ew.
Oh, you can definitely tell it's burnt.
Griffin, I grabbed you one. Like you asked me.
Wait, I want to see if they look.
Autumn, what about
Cupcake.
Who wants a ghost truffle?
Have cupcakes.
Ella, what kind are the cupcakes? Peppermint.
you.
Peppermint? Thank you, Ella. Yep.
You got both.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the burnt
Autumn just
truffles are really gross.
Walked right past. Autumn comes over here with the truffles. I was like this, about to go grab one. She just keeps walking. I'm like,
Yeah, we're not even out.
Like I said, just call it charred truffles.
I'm mad.
You can taste the burnt. Does anyone want the last truffle?
Dave doesn't even
I do. That one.
You dropped it on me.
I
No, I said close up.
Instead of you being so rude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, the burnt are good.
Kind of has the chocolate.
Oh,
yeah,
I covered my plate.
Maybe not on the one. I really like that.
Alright,
Like chunks of burnt chocolate. It's like ridiculous.
Oh, how about last one? Alright, Emma, you're all set.
Okay, so
Wait,
my
actually stop for a second. Was it recording the whole time? You can stop it.
oh, okay.
Just so you know in the future. Go ahead.
Okay, so my junior summer project was candle making. So why I picked candle making? I picked candle making because I really like candles and I always buy them at Bath and Body Works and places like that. And I really wanted to challenge myself because I'm not normally like a crafty person, like making crafts and stuff like that. So I wanted to try something new. And like I said, I have no experience and I also had like a question like to myself, like an initial question, and it was if I could make candles cheaper than like what Bath and Body Works does to like see if it was more expensive to buy them or to make them. So I just wanted to test that theory. So for my first candle, I went to Michael's and I bought 1 pound of parasoil wax, and you can get like so many different waxes. You can get like bee wax, you can get parasoil wax, and you can get soy wax, and there's like I'm sure there's many more than that. But those were like the ones that like I did research on. So I did parasoil wax. So I thought that if I were to fill my container that I was going to use with wax and then melt it, that would be enough wax. So
So I did that, and it only filled the candle halfway. So then I had to make more wax, but I also had to make the colors for the wax, so I had to make another wax. So then I put it on top, and the color wasn't matched, so I just made like an ombre. So then my first candle was a pumpkin patch one. So that's what I did for my first one. And then in the video I watched, I poured the wax too fast and too hot. So there were like air bubbles. So I had to, like you can see that there's like a hole in the top. So I had to fill it in with other wax, and then I had to melt it in. So then that was my first candle, and I went through 1 pound of wax. And I had to make 4 other candles. So I went on Amazon and I bought 10 pounds of soy wax, because pear soy wax, like it melts farther down, so that was a problem. So then I just bought more, and then I made all the other candles. So yeah. So these are my final results. You can just see, and then I just like decorated all of them differently, and like I named them. Okay, so some of the difficulties that I had, like I said, pouring at the exact temperature, because like there were air bubbles and everything, and not burning myself. That was something that I struggled with a lot, because I would like get distracted and I would go do something else, and like I wouldn't pay attention to like how hot the wax would be, because it took forever to heat up. So as I was waiting for it to heat up, like the water under, like you can see there's like, I had like 2 pans, and the water under the first one, it would like boil over and it would get everywhere, and I made a really big mess. So that was a problem. And then following instructions. So I was watching a step-by-step YouTube tutorial for it, and it just like, I just wanted to keep going ahead. So I'd like pause the video, and then I'd do like 1 step further, which I shouldn't have done. And that was just something that I struggled with a lot. So what I would do differently, I would make more candles, because I feel like that once I like figured it out, that I would be able to do more. And like once I got like the right way that I was gonna do it and everything like that, So in conclusion, I made 5 candles, and I just proved to myself that I can do this, and that it's something that like I would obviously need to work more on and just get better and just keep practicing. And another thing that I figured out about myself is that I lack patience like a lot. So I just really need to work on that, because like I said, I would like leave and forget about things, and then I just like, and like another thing with like the YouTube tutorial, I would just like keep going ahead of myself, and I feel like I do that a lot in life, just like go ahead of myself like when I'm not ready to, and like school and everything like that. So I just found that I need to be more patient. And I also figured out that it's not worth it to, like I would just buy the candles then make them, because I spent like easily $30 on each candle, and you can get a candle at Bath & Body Works for like $12. And they're not, like the quality isn't as good, so yeah.
Thanks.